Hey there guys, I wanted to do a video to walk through some easy ways you can come up with variations using text and pictures. So I'm just going to open up my file here and I'm going to start with a Redbubble template. So I've set this up in Photoshop to just have the width of 64, 80, and 7632, resolutions 300. So this is just your standard template for Redbubble, and I'll just fit it onto the screen so it's nice and big. Okay, so let's use just the most basic design. I'm just going to hit place, and I'm going to use this flag of the United States, which is just a regular PNG file. And I'm just going to make it a bit bigger here so we can work with something that's easy to see. Now let's pretend that I wanted to do, like, say a vote t-shirt or sticker. So that's my idea that I've got. Okay, so I'm going to type in the word vote here in Photoshop, and I'm going to make it nice and big, maybe 2500. In fact, I'll make it even bigger than that. And the problem I'm going to run into is that I can't see it very well because I've got white text and it's sitting on top of a black, white and red flag, red and white flag, right? So you can see my dilemma, right? So what do? Well, I could just change the text color to black. And that could work. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. I could also change it to a different color, like something that's a bit more punchy, like maybe a bright pink or something. Again, I'm not wild about that, right? So what I want to do is walk through a couple other ideas other than just changing the text color. What you can do to start off is you can actually put the flag of the United States layer above the voting layer. So I've got text that says vote, and then above it now I've got the flag of the United States. And what I can do is just highlight both layers, and then I'm going to hit the Alt key. And when I hit the Alt key, it merges them together, but it lays one on top of the other. So now, and I can actually move this flag layer around if I want. So I could create a vote sign that way. So that's an idea. It's pretty simple to do, right? And you can use pretty much any picture if you wanted to do that. So that's one idea. I'll just delete the flag of the United States and I'll just add in another layer that I've got just to show you another example. Here I've got an ocean high definition picture, and let's say I wanted to have that, and maybe my text, instead of vote, maybe I wanted to say swim. So I'm just gonna, not a very good typer here these days, I'm going to type in swim, and I'll just make it 2500. And again, it doesn't matter what color this is because I'm going to just take the layer, that's the ocean, on top of it, and I'm just going to merge them together. So I'm highlighting both layers, and then I'm hitting the Alt key, and I'm just holding it in the middle. See, if I go too low, a little hand pops up. If I go too high, a little hand pops up. But when I go right in the middle, you see that little, looks like two little circles with a little arrow next to it? I'm hitting the Alt key, and then I click. So now I've got a layer sitting on top, and now I can make that design. So again, I think this is infinitely better because you could upload this onto a t-shirt, a coffee mug, whatever it is, and you can put a picture inside the text, which is kind of nice. So that's, again, it's pretty easy to do, right? Now let's pretend that I wanted to do something using both pictures. So what I could do is, let's say I wanted to do a vote. I'll go back to the vote one. And let's say I wanted to, I'll just leave it on lower caps, and let's say I want to add in the Ocean HD picture there. Okay, and then I'm going to move the vote on top of it. So now I want to make the vote the American flag, but I want to put it inside of the underwater. Now why you would do this, it doesn't make any sense, but I'm just using this to illustrate for our example here of how you can merge a couple layers together. So I'm going to just add now, going to place the flag of the United States, put it right on top, and then just using the Alt button, so I'm going to highlight both with a Shift key, so flag, Shift, vote, and then Alt. Whoops, I copied the layer accidentally. There we go. So I'm going to just delete that out. So I'm going to click both of these, and I'm going to click the Alt button, and that will actually just highlight it together. So again, it's not the end of the world if you make a mistake. I just double-click something there, and you can just go to Edit and then step backwards, and you can always go backwards. So again, it's not the end of the world if you make a mistake. And again, I mean, I think that vote looks way better. Now, I don't particularly like the background, but you can get the idea here. You can put stuff inside of another picture if you want. Another option as well, I'll just use the same examples here. I'll just delete this out. Is you can actually create a layer underneath it as well. So I'm going to remove the HD, and I'm going to put a layer underneath it. Now let's use, say, a black layer, and maybe I'll use a gradient layer actually, and I'll fill this in. So I'll do paint bucket, and I'll fill it in, and then I'll go into the layer itself, and I'll make it a gradient layer. So I'll do gradient overlay. Okay, so now I've got a gradient layer sitting here underneath it. This is fine the way it is, but if I wanted to make the vote into the American flag, we're going to place the layer of the flag on top of it. I'm going to highlight both. So I'm going to click on, oh, I got to place the layer here first. I'm going to vote flag United States, Alt, and then I'll create that. Now, if I didn't want to do this, you can create actually the opposite. So I'm going to show you the opposite way to do it, which is to have vote, and then you're going to right click on the layer that's got your vote, and you're going to go to rasterize type. And what that does is it's going to change this little T, because this is a text field. It's going to change that now to just a picture. So now this is just like any other picture I've got. It's not actually text anymore. And then what I can do is I can just put a layer underneath it, the flag. So I'll set that in. And then I can just put my picture right on top, like that, for example. And then I can just literally erase these letters. But when I erase the letters, it only leaves the flag. So what I want to do instead is I want to merge these together. So I'm going to click both these layers and use the Shift key to highlight them both. Okay, and then I'm going to right click and merge the layers. Now it becomes one picture all by itself. And now when I go into delete, Magic Eraser Tour, it's going to have the underlying picture underneath it. See how the vote gets darker and then lighter? So you could make your design using the gradient background, and then you just can crop out the remainder, and you've got yourself a nice gradient background. So again, I mean, you can do all sorts of different things in Photoshop. I'm a big fan of trying to keep it as simple as possible. I feel like Photoshop is one of these things where you can really go down a rabbit hole and you can spend hours and days and weeks trying to learn things. These are just some easy, quick ways you can make your designs either with text or with simple pictures pop. So I hope you found that helpful. Just a couple quick tips there for you. And yeah, if you like what you saw, by all means hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment, ask me a question. Happy to answer what I can. Thanks guys, hope you found that helpful.